Good morning. All right, let's get started. So let's take a look at some of these swings. Roblox. So Roblox is up pretty massively. Been holding this super tight channel on the way up. Looks like it's had a bit of a speed up here at the top and potentially gonna roll over. Really tough to say. It's pretty much only been going up. So timing the top is a little bit difficult, but maybe it is in a wedge here. Definitely has a big speed up. So a lot of times that is signaling the top. So we have all-time highs right here at 141. So it is under all-time high. Let me put that line on there. There we go. So that is going to be a major level. Not sure if it can get through that or not. If it does, it's going to be pretty insane. But pretty clear wedge forming on Roblox. So maybe watching for a breakdown or breakout. Really, it could go either way. It's a wedge. So wedges can break out, they can break down. It is tightening up really nicely in that wedge. So that is an interesting one for sure. Let's see. Okay. Hood. Obviously, another one. Kind of looks similar to Roblox, actually. Not really sure if Roblox is related to crypto at all. But similar pattern for sure. Holding a super tight range on the way up, just grinding up this moving average. Didn't even touch this moving average once on the daily yet. When it does touch it, it's probably going to crack. So definitely want to watch out for that. Decent looking trend line like this. Let's see, let me throw this on. A little bit better line, there we go. Now these last two trend breaks worked out. So let me just get rid of these. Okay, so we're looking at a pretty decent trend line here. This one should be a watch. I would say for a breakdown, it's probably very tied to crypto. It is in a pretty tight wedge again. So I like hood for something. Breakdown pullback, breakout pullback, either one could be really good. A little bit of a speed up here, which is usually signaling a top, potential top. You know, but it doesn't have to be. Like this one over here had a big speed up, pull back, but it held the dip and kept going higher. So the market's in a kind of an interesting place right now. Let's see, Netflix has been just absolutely crushing, going higher and higher and higher. And it's had its first significant pullback in a while. So this could be some sort of trend reclaim. It's kind of a weird wick right there. But Netflix pretty much only has been going up. It's in, I would say, in a downward channel right now. This wick kind of throws things off a little bit. But I would call it something like that. Also, this trend line right here broke down. So that one was a breakdown pullback on this bigger trend line. And it's been pulling back since. So let me get rid of this one now. Getting a little bit too many drawings. Yeah, I'd be looking for Netflix to reclaim this top trend. Maybe bounce back up. Again, first significant pullback since April. So is it the top or is it just a little pullback before it goes higher? Hard to say. Let's take a look at coin. Coinbase. So Coinbase pushed up to the all-time high. It poked through just a little bit and then had a pullback. And now it's really threatening to reclaim this trend line. So this is a pretty big watch for me. It's pulled back to this support level, kind of holding right around that support. So it seems like that one wants to reclaim. And very, very tied to crypto. So take a look at Bitcoin too. Bitcoin is just holding a pretty tight flag right now. Pretty tight flag. So it does seem like Bitcoin wants to continue higher. The question is, how long is it going to take? So we had the last one. It held this range pretty well from, let's see, what is this, May through July. So basically a month, 2 months, month and a half flag right here. Basically a month and a half flag. So now what are we going to do here? It's been flagging for about half a month. At all-time highs. So that's significant. This could easily break out and keep going higher. Start pushing 130, 140, 150 by the end of the year, for sure. So it's still in an uptrend. It's still front side of the move here. All right, let's take a look at some small cap. Small cap. BGLC. The top mover in pre-market. Put this on the watch list for sure. What's the news? DeepSeek moment in precision oncology. Announced the signing of a term sheet. All right, let me just read this. For strategic cross-equity partnership, and the parties are calling for a DeepSeek class leap. What does that even mean? AI-driven biotech. So did they use AI to discover something? That's kind of what it sounds like. Okay, and it says they will acquire equity stake in Fidlion and secure exclusive commercial rights to something. So AI-driven discoveries in medicine, biotech, this kind of thing is going to happen. This is going to be major for our small caps coming up. This is maybe the first one I've seen so far. There's probably been more, but there will be big events like this that actually do come through, and there will be discoveries that AI is making. So that's going to be major when that actually starts happening. And of course, you'll get all these little companies pumping up their stocks off of news like this. All right. The main one is BGLC. We have another one, REPL. What do we have here? So why is it up? No news. Let's see if there was news yesterday. No news yesterday either. So it's up for no reason. Huge gap over here. A little bit higher float. Wow. IXHL back from the grave. Take a look at that one in a second. REPL, what do we got? 101% institutional ownership. Wow. Impressive. Probably just going to avoid this one. It might be okay. High IO, though, is a big red flag. So we'll watch it. Might be fine. SGD. Decent gap. Already coming back. We're going to want to see this push back up. TYGO again. We want to see it come back up. OP. I remember this one. Cheap. Super cheap. But it's on this backside bounce. Potentially going to come back up for a bounce short. Hopefully it gets up to $1. So if it can get up to $1, I'm interested. It's got some work to do, though. WLGS, too cheap for me. 6 cents. Okay, here's IXHL. Back from the grave. It was certain death over here, and now it came back up. Morning, Scotty. So, yeah, this thing is got some fresh news on it. Trial results, phase 2. So I believe they did an offering back here on the 24th. I don't see the offering. It's either bad trial news or an offering. I have to look at the filings to find out. Let's see. But we have fresh news on it, and it's pushing the breakout level. So you can imagine people who like to swing short are going to be absolutely hitting this into the bounce and trying to swing this back down to 20 cents. It didn't make it there. So all those people are going to be trapped in this. And now it's threatening to break out again over, what would this be? Let's call it 160, what is this? 167. $166 is the breakout. So, kind of interesting. I do love the failed breakouts on these for the short setup. So pretty much best case scenario for me would be if it can push up actually break out, but then fail maybe around $2. Starts failing and rolling over, and then we have a nice short opportunity. Pretty much not interested if it can't do that. On the flip side, maybe it's a long. Maybe it's a long into the breakout area. So either way, it looks like maybe we have something in small cap to trade today. Look at that daily chart. That is an amazing looking daily chart. Pretty incredible. This is why I like small caps, because you get charts like this. Now you can imagine we're going to open up. It's going to gap up from this and potentially break out and keep going higher. And it kind of looks like Newegg. Look at Newegg. That's pretty nuts. So Newegg had a huge breakout at 17. Came up to $55. Pulled back to the 20s. Back to the breakout, $56. Wow. Sort of gapping down overnight here. So this, for Newegg, is going to be a huge day. It's a decision day. It's either going to top out and come back down at the failed breakout area, or it's going to keep going higher. And it's gapping down already, so that might be a sign. But again, I would love to see it actually test the breakout for real. Come back up over $65. Just make a wedge and then roll over would be great. And there's a chance it doesn't do that. But I basically have to have a shakeout before I'll try a short. And then there's always, a lot of times you get a sideways top day, and day 2 is the day that has the follow through. Pretty insane. All right, BGLC coming back. Maybe BGLC might be topped out. Put Newegg on the watch list. Yeah, it looks like BGLC is probably topped out, but I don't short in pre-market usually, unless it's really, really good. But one of these signs here is the triple top chop. So it pushes up once, breaks a high, comes back down. Twice, breaks a high, comes back down. 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out. Okay. Unironically, that is a fairly typical top out pattern for these. And you can kind of imagine if you're shorting it, risking the high, trying to catch the backside. Uh-oh, you stop out. Try it again, stop out again. So it's just kind of abusing the short sellers. And then after so many tries, they just kind of stop trying, and then it tops out. So usually it's 3 tries, and then that's the top. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the perfect entry for BGLC for a short. Of course, anything can happen, but that's one of the reasons I don't try these in pre-market like that. All right, 1 minute to the bell. All right, BGLC, is it going to be totally dead here, or is it going to give a morning spike? Just took a tiny trade out of principle on BGLC. Oh, well, look at that. Apple's back up. Apple had some kind of news in pre-market, dropped it a bit. It's coming back up, filling the gap so far. Yeah, we'll see if that holds up or not. That might have been the shakeout before the big move higher. We'll see. They do have earnings on Thursday, so I'm not exactly wanting to hold through earnings. Not my style. Unless I'm super up on the position already. Newegg down, GameStop down. Coinbase testing a trend line. Meta down. What else? What else? All right, we'll get rid of this. All right, IXHL coming right back down. Kind of sad. I wanted to see that do better. BGLC halting up. This is good. It's trying to get to $10. $10 is the prophecy number. You know, the prophecy must be fulfilled. So it wants to get up to $10. I'm out of it for scratch gain. Let's see. Coin kind of push up to a trend line. Sort of rejecting off of that. Let me pull it up. Coin. So yeah, coin pushed up to this trend line here. Sort of rejecting so far. Wonder if that has the juice to push through. I don't know. Try a little anticipation breakout. Small starter. We'll add into it maybe if it gets going for real. I don't know. Not the best. It's really more of a short right now. Apple chopping back down. Okay, coin has a sig finally. Um, might just be the short entry on coin here. This is going to be interesting. Right up to that trend line. Pretty crazy. Hims is up quite a bit. UNH is going down. Both healthcare sector stocks going opposite directions. Very different healthcare stocks, true. Coin rejecting the trend line so far pretty aggressively. We'll see if it has any more pullback in it. Little higher high top out so far. Nvidia coming right back up. Pretty much any dip on Nvidia is a buy, as far as I can tell. All right, the big question is, can BGLC hold up, or is it going to roll over? Al likes it short. Not so sure myself, but what do I know? It's probably going to work totally fine. I'm always thinking, like, what's the worst case scenario? Like, oh, this could squeeze to $10. Or it could just roll over. So So Al is currently up, how would I say this? %100 of the position size over the past week. So in other words, whatever position size you're trading is what it's up. So if you got 5K positions, you're up 5K this week. Or not this week, last week. So starting last week. Okay, coin simply rejected that trend line. bit of a crack there on BGLC. Okay, Tesla looking like maybe a short. Let me take a look at that. So I see this little trend line here over the past several days. Possible pop and drop this morning. I think I'll try it. Just for a little day trade. Technically still holding the trend though. I keep doing that. I keep going against the trend a little bit. Anticipating is not good. Let's see, the Tesla algo is not in currently. Yeah, so currently the forecast we had on Tesla is pretty much playing out. We're just expecting it to stay in this wedge. And so far it's doing that. There might be some little trend breaks here and there along the way that we can trade. But for now, it's just holding this wedge. Kind of expecting it to tighten up. So earnings dropped it all the way back down to the bottom of the wedge. And it bounced right off the bottom of the wedge. Back to the middle point. And now it's kind of meandering along. Roblox pushing pretty strong. Get out of my way. Yeah, Roblox to the top of the wedge. All right, I just have swings on Nike and Schwab right now. Both looking pretty good. I have Schwab from 95, Nike from 72.70. Try to let the winners run. So we'll see if BGLC can come on down some more. Going to be compounding the strategy. Starting out small, you got to start out small and make sure it works. But then compound it, and that's where the gains can come in. You can only size up if you have wins. If you have losses, you size down. That's just compounding gains and losses. GameStop going lower. That's super interesting. just kind of feel like that's a weird play. If it drops basically below 20 bucks, I'm going to be buying it. I did have a swing on it. I'm kind of like up on it a little bit. I sold it the other day. I made a tiny bit on it, but it didn't really hold up. So we got out, and hopefully it goes lower now, and I'll buy lower because I do think it has some really unique qualities. The premiums on the options are insane. So it's really just a nice premium farm. If I can get it in a good price and just kind of hold on to the shares, as long as it's not nosediving, then if it can hang out, that's all I really want. And then occasionally it will pop on some kind of news. Coinbase, nice rejection off the trend line. Not sure how low that's going to go, but so far it just tapped the trend line and pulled back. Holding above pre-market highs and yesterday's close. All right, BGLC lower. Tesla's in a 3-day wedge. Trying to break out at the top of it. Still maybe tightening, I don't know. This is how I see it. Right here. See you, Scotty. Have a good one. Tesla kind of breaking out of this little wedge. Hood back to the top of the wedge. Might get a rejection here, just like Coinbase. It's a big push up to the top of the wedge. It's really just tightening in this range here. Might have to try short on hood. Why does that keep doing that? Maybe we'll try it off the 5-minute. Starting a hood short here. Let's see if we can get some ads on it. It's not quite at the top of the wedge yet, so don't want to fully commit. Simply gonna play this 5-minute MACD. So we have a reason for it to come back down. We have the trend line. It's in a wedge. It wants to reject maybe. It's always a reject before it's a reclaim. Always assume it's going to reject until it proves that it won't. But it really hasn't touched the line yet, so it doesn't actually have to touch the line either. Does seem to be stalling a bit here at 106. So we'll see. It looks like coin is sort of rejecting, which means hood might follow suit. Let's see. Let's check it on Apple. Yeah, Apple had some action. It's kind of, I don't know, a little bit weak. A little bit weak coming into earnings on Thursday. Sort of broken down out of a wedge pattern. Not the best to look for Apple. Of course, that doesn't have to matter. Could easily come back up. All right, hood pushing towards the trend line. All right, how strong is it going to be? That's the question. Hood pushing higher. Adding to my hood short. So we'll see if it tops out here. If not, then I'll be done with it. But interesting that yesterday was a massive red day across the board in the market. And now it's looking like we're seeing a lot of green days. Algos continuing to be right on those shorts. All right, big decision here for hood. Are we rejecting or are we going to continue to blast off? What's it going to do? All right, hood having its first little pullback here off of the trend line. We'll see if this falls through. Really seems like a Switterman 101. Gonna put the stop at 107. Give it a little bit of room there. Really don't want to stop out if I'm right. Maybe it's too strong. Maybe this is too strong. We do expect it to be a little choppy around the top of the line. Let's see here. All right, got to see some failure here soon, or it's going to be GG. All right, well, I'm going to call it there. I got to get going. I'll post some screenshots in the Discord later of some trades from today. Mainly BGLC and Hood. We'll see how it plays out. Gonna let this chop around and see what it does. Quote of the day, we'll find a way. We always have. Until tomorrow. Good luck, everyone. Be back tomorrow.